I recall having read it in the papers and having read it on Facebook by one of my friends. And I look at the path, it looked like a real ferocious typhoon. So right away, my first instinct was to call on my people and to tell them to get prepared. I was texting our chapter administrator. I can remember very vividly. She said, "Nakakatakot." It is so terrifying in English. And then I could not contact her. So right away, we mobilized. We had already mobilized previously. We realized that we were in the dark because there was no communication. There's no power, there's no water, there's no telecommunications at that time. And we couldn't get anything across. And so we pulled all the stops. We brought out our ambulances. You know, this is gonna be a long ride. I called in our fire volunteers in Subic. I called in our volunteers in other chapters. And we started putting up a rescue truck with lights so that they can operate generators. There are several kinds of disasters. One is a major disaster such as Haiyan. And then there is a forgotten disaster like Bohol and Zamboanga.
That caravan is to bring equipment, supplies to all the areas that were affected by Typhoon Haiyan. And there is always a lot of people, daytime, nighttime, because it's really a 24/7 operation.
You know, we put out canned food, ready-to-eat meals. We were heading for Tacloban, and when we finally got there, we couldn't even go through. We found out that there was a lot of debris on the highway. We couldn't get through the bridge. There were so many dead bodies on the bridge. We opened up a factory that closed down. I called my friend in Taiwan, and he manufactured about 10,000 body bags. And then I had to ask my people, we cannot have a situation where we as Red Cross volunteers would allow the bodies to rot in the middle of the street, so we have to do dead body management. They start picking up the bodies, putting them in the body bags, etc. Later on, we moved to a refrigerated truck because we have to give dignity to the dead. Later on, we called in a conference in February already, where all the partners came in from all over the world, and we said, we find out, all right, how much are you going to bring? What are you going to bring? And there are so many countries, so we said, all right, we will divide you into territories. We were soon distributing relief goods, women and senior citizens first. We were teaching them also at the same time how to survive. We were giving whistles and we were telling them there are 3 whistles when you have to evacuate.
Pag pumito ako ng isang pito, makikinig kayo, ibig sabihin nun. Pag sinabing 2 pito, hahawakan nyo yung pamilya nyo.
And we used the relief goods as if they were their families. This is one of the biggest expense because it was chasing after time. Because a lot of people were hungry, a lot of people didn't have homes, they have to have tarpaulins, they had no water. We started providing them with cards. They got everything from food, they got everything from toolkits for shelter, tarpaulins, and everything like that. We started doing cash donations, and distribution. At the same time, we had to put up hospitals in Basay, in Samar, and in the capital itself, we were able to put up a field hospital with the ICRC. The emergency phase was really large. It's unquantifiable.
For Haiyan Kapis, there's a lot na mga tulong na binigay natin. Una, we have a shelter project.
Paypay Village, siguro it was also one of the successful relocation site na pinatayo natin ng Philippine Red Cross right after Yolanda. It was funded through the support of the French Red Cross. Package ang ginawa natin. Merong daycare center and they have their own health center. We have built roads, yung bahay nila, duplex houses. May water treatment facility sila na before yung sewage nila, before mag-discharge sa kanal, natitreat yung water nila. And even their electricities are solar powered. So wala silang binabayaran, they are only paying for the maintenance ng solar electricity. Even their water are free. Siguro it is isa sa mga pinaka-successful project talaga ng Philippine Red Cross right after Yolanda.
In terms of figures, yes, Red Cross hagawa ng pinakamalaking record. Yung shelter natin already include latrine. Bawat bahay meron ng CR.
Yung patahian ay part pa ng livelihood namin na assistance. So nakapag-provide kami sa kanila ng mga sewing machine. Kaya nila napili ang magkaroon ng patahian kasi karamihan din naman sa miyembro nila ay mga mananahina. Subalit, itong mga mananahina to ay walang mga sariling sewing machine.
Isa sa mga ginagawa namin dito sa agricultural learning site na provide ng Philippine Red Cross ay turuan ng aming farmers na magkaroon ng organically grown black rice. Dito, tinuturuan sila na huwag gumamit ng pestisedyo upang magkaroon ng magandang kita.
Sa Mobo Kalibo, isa siyang malaking learning site na kung saan pwede kami doon magtanim or mag-raise ng animals. Organic lahat ang ginagamit namin dito. It's also part of our Phase 3 and Community Managed Livelihood Project.
People in different areas may kanya-kanya skills. Bago tinamaan ng Yolanda, kinakailangan na natin i-develop yung kanilang skills into his field para meron siyang livelihood. For classroom, meron na tayong construction and rehabilitation. Kumpleto yung facilities na pati in-include natin yung repair ng loob at hindi lang sa labas ng classroom.
We raise the bar. There has to be toilets in the classrooms that we build. There's got to be hand washing so that when they survive this disaster, they won't get sick. And because public schools in this country have a hard time putting in soap and putting in toilet paper, we make sure that we put in bidets so that they can wash themselves with decency and not destroy the toilets that we put up by putting in newspapers instead of toilet paper.
We have targeted 24 health facilities in Tacloban and other nearby municipalities. Then 8 of those health facilities were na binigyan natin ng equipment.
Sa Altavas, nagkaroon kami ng construction ng RHU. Nag-provide din kami actually sa RHU ng mga equipment. Doon sa may mga health facilities namin na pinakonstruct, meron kami mga community health volunteers na kung saan katuwang sila ng midwife or ng nurse or ng doktor doon sa area nila.
One of the major services that we implemented during Typhoon Haiyan was psychosocial support. This is actually a program where we try to assist those who are affected by the disaster to be able to cope with the critical situation.
Yung pinakamalaking warehouse na mayroon ang PRC dito sa parting Visayas, ito ay pinaka-strategic location para sa regional warehouse ng Philippine Red Cross. So ginamit ito para paglagyan ng mga relief goods ng bagyong Yolanda.
So during Typhoon Yolanda, yung pinaka-main na challenge natin is the accessibility. So nag-establish ang Philippine Red Cross ng regional warehouse na strategic, which will be positioned here in Pasig. Siya yung pinaka-center ng Panay Island.
It's a brand new ship which we found really ideal for the Philippines in terms of being able to reach remote areas by sea. We have to have mobility by boat that does not even need a pier or a port. And it's now on its way here to the Philippines and hopefully get it ready for any contingency.
Netherlands Red Cross is here since 2006. In 2015, we have a longer-term partnership agreement with Philippine Red Cross. During implementation of this Haiyan recovery project in support of Netherlands Red Cross, the first learning is about the owner-driven approach. Operation and maintenance are really working well, and which will really make the project sustainable.
The partnership that we have with the Philippine Red Cross is the biggest that we ever had in any future experience with the British Red Cross. The nature of the partnership that we have here is the most complex, the most expensive.
It's been the fastest recovery I've ever been involved in. I think it's due to the Philippine Red Cross having a clear strategy, and I think that's due to strong partnership.
I think that the Philippine Red Cross itself has done a fantastic job of trying to coordinate the partners, looking at how to divide up geographically based on the needs in each community, but also with consideration to the amounts of money that each partner national society had. And I think wisely ensured that the various partners approached the projects, approached the recovery phase in an integrated approach.
Internationally, the Philippine Red Cross has also been recognized for its efforts, notably the level of cooperation of the Red Cross, Red Crescent movement in the wake of Typhoon Haiyan is a case study of cooperation as well as effective leadership by a national society in the face of great odds.
The reason why perhaps we are the partner of choice, because they believe in the Philippine Red Cross. It has a brand by itself. When you say Red Cross, it has a brand. That means it's reliable. Every single cent, we always show where this money goes. So that's accountability. We want to show that we can be trusted and we can always be their partner of choice and the institution that can well handle.
For the donations that we received, I could say that it was really huge. We have to maintain our records clear and clean so as to be able to deliver a good report.
It has been a rewarding experience working in partnership between the Swiss Red Cross and Philippine Red Cross. And I see this from three dimensions. One, reaching out to the most vulnerable families and helping them to build themselves. Secondly, I also admire the leadership of the chairman of Philippine Red Cross, Chairman Gordon. He has been an inspiration for us in the partnership program. And also I appreciate the dedication of the staff of the Philippine Red Cross as well as the dedication of the volunteers at the community level.
One good thing that the Haiyan operations have put the Red Cross and Red Crescent movement in another level of implementation. Not because of the scale, but because of the opportunities that allowed us to innovate what we are doing so far in the programs of shelter, livelihood, health, water and sanitation, and education.
It has been the work of the Red Cross ever since kahit sa disaster naman. We will see to it na kung tumulong tayo, kung tumulong tayo, kumbaga, lulubusin na natin. From the start, kung ano talaga yung needs nila, Then we will see to it na after the project na they have stand on their own. Yung dignidad ng bawat natulungan natin na ibalik. So they were able to stand on their own. Yun siguro.
You know, for this operation, we come up with very good guidelines on how we will respond to future disasters as big as Haiyan. So if there are smaller than Haiyan, then it would be easier for the Philippine Red Cross to respond to.
What is the most significant learning in this operation is that the Philippine Red Cross have improved its system. But we also touch the lives of the Filipino people because it's a culture of helping each other. Not because they need it, but because they are willing to help themselves as part of the process of improving.
Disaster to deliverance. But with the many things that we face here on this earth every day, always a new challenge. You tend to forget things that are meaningful at that time. Disaster to deliverance, when I look at it now, sounds very arrogant. But the fact remains is we have to tell our people that they were the ones who brought people to deliverance and that there is ceaseless recovery. And that is important, not for us, but for the people. Initially, the attitude must be, you're delivered. But in the end, it is they that will engage in ceaseless recovery so that they can deliver themselves and uplift themselves ultimately. What is the next step? There will be greater challenges and we must climb greater heights. And we cannot just sit on our laurels, but we're more confident as each disaster passes by, we should learn to share what we had. Because although we will never forget the bad times and the dark clouds and the great storms of time, you must be able to make sure that what you've learned there, you've learned to deliver. To deliver not just welfare, but to deliver dignity.